Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous. It's Wednesday. Coming up later in the program, we've got a special guest. We have Kate and Kelly McMenamin, and actually it's a couple of sisters, and they've got a book called Organize Your Way. So it's, from what I read, one was kind of a tidy person, and the other was not such a tidy person. So they came together and put a book together showing you, if you're a tidy person, this is the way to organize. If you're not, this is the way to do it. So I'm excited to chat because you and I aren't necessarily the same. Look around here. Which parts of this office are the parts that I take care of?
Exactly.
By that stack over there, by this pile over here. So we're going to have to see. Maybe they'll come up with some good advice for us. You ready for a quote today?
Sure.
Wednesday, May the 10th. What is harder than rock or softer than water? Yet soft water hollows out hard rock. Persevere. Ovid. So I don't know who Ovid is, but they speak interestingly. So it's saying, what is harder, rock or water? Rock is harder, but soft water can hollow out a hard rock. So like a little drip over time. So it's saying, persevere, and you'll hang in there. And even if you're soft, you can still beat the hard rock by just dripping on it forever. Okay. I think that's what he means. I don't know. We got some special things going on today. We'll tell you about that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, May the 10th. It is Bike to School Day. It is Dia de la Madre. Isn't that Day of the Mother?
I think so. Donate
a Day Wages to Charity Day. National Lipid Day. And it's because it's the 10th. I guess today's like May 10th. Lipid Day? I don't know. Anyway, National Night Shift Workers Day. National Third Shift Workers Day as well. And a lot of the time that's the same, isn't it? Night workers, third
Usually,
shift.
yeah. I think so.
Occupational Safety and Health Day. Receptionist Day. School Nurse Day. And World Lupus Day as well. So it's Lipid Day and Lupus Day. It's interesting. All of that going on this 10th day of May. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
We used to watch TV shows when the network told us to. Then came the DVR, and that changed everything. You could watch what you want, when you want. But you were still stuck paying the ridiculous monthly fees. And they even upcharged you for that DVR. Well, a few months ago, I cut my cable. We were paying a bundle. It was $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we just pay for the internet, and I save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this, too, at channelsurfertv.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 25% at channelsurfertv.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Talk about an interesting case of timing, Heidi. Carolyn Holt of St. Charles County, Missouri, was driving when she went into cardiac arrest. Now, for most people, that would be the end, right?
Yeah.
Cardiac arrest while driving?
Yeah,
That's
not
not a
good.
good thing. Well, her vehicle crossed over 3 lanes of traffic in heavy rush hour traffic, by the way, without hitting anybody. Then gently came to rest against a guardrail. That's when 4 people stopped by to help her. Now, 2 of the people that were there were registered nurses. A third person was Steve Earle, who makes a living selling defibrillators. The devices used to shock a patient to get their heart back into rhythm. Guess what? He happened to have one. It's the one he uses for demonstrations. And he did a little demonstration right there on the side of the road. The 2 nurses started cardiopulmonary resuscitation while Holt wasn't breathing. Earle grabbed one of the defibrillators and asked one of the nurses to help hook the thing up, delivered a shock, got her pulse back on, paramedics rushed to the scene and got her to the hospital, and she is fine now.
That is crazy.
I mean,
somebody was definitely watching out for her.
What are the odds that if you have a cardiac arrest while driving, that you're going to be okay? I mean, this doesn't typically happen.
Yeah.
But to have 4 people stop, 2 of which are trained nurses, another one happens to have a defibrillator and is a defibrillator salesperson. I can't even say it. Am I saying it right? Defibrillator?
I don't know.
How would you say it?
I don't know.
Defib? You're not even going to try.
But it clearly wasn't her time to go.
Absolutely. So hats off to the folks that stopped by at Carolyn Holt of St. Charles County, Missouri. How cool is that? And it's something that really happened. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. This actually is a different kind of drug. Usually we're talking about people on things like marijuana or cocaine or whatever, but this is an actual prescribed drug. Australian medical researchers say a popular insomnia drug has been shown to make people gain weight by sleepwalking to the kitchen and eating while they sleep. I think that's kind of interesting. So, like I said, usually we're talking about people on other kinds of drugs, but this is a drug that's making people while they're sleepwalking. So they're insomniacs. They were struggling to sleep before. Now they're at least able to fall asleep, but while they're sleeping, they're also having a feast. That could be dangerous. That could be really dangerous. And again, that drug is from Australia, and I have another story here from Australia, so since I've got a moment. An Australian biotech company invented an implant to give you a perfect tan in 2 days. Would you do this? Would you do it?
Yeah.
It's a tiny high-tech device that gets put under your skin to stimulate melatonin production, which results in a suntan that lasts 2 months.
Oh.
I just kind of wonder if that's safe.
I don't know.
Do you remember when we were kids, there was a movie? What was the guy's name that was in that? The
I don't
Soul
know what
Man?
movie you're
Was it
talking
Soul
about.
Man?
Oh, yeah.
Where it was a
He
gentleman.
just painted his skin, though.
Yeah. Oh no, he took a drug. It was a like a test drug that he took and made himself, and then he applied for a scholarship that
Yeah.
he wasn't supposed to get.
I remember that movie.
So anyway, yeah.
C. Thomas Howell was
There you
in
go.
it.
I knew you would know who it was. Too. Well, kids, we've got your moment of duh coming up.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. And again, this is one that usually at this time we have some story about somebody that did something stupid. I actually have a study about a lot of people doing a lot of things stupid. And this is a good time to talk about it because we got a lot of kiddos that are going to be graduating here fairly soon. And they're going to be going to graduations and all that kind of stuff. A lot of kids are going to be done with school. Some kids are going to be getting their driver's license for the first time ever this summer. If you think your teen would never text and drive, think again. More than half of high school seniors admit in a government survey that they have done just that. That is just the ones who admitted it in the government survey. Mm-hmm. So think about how many said, no, I don't ever do that. Meanwhile, they do that. It's a bad idea. It's always a bad idea to text and drive. And have you ever seen the bumper sticker that says honk if you love Jesus? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
There's a guy that's working on a new bumper sticker that says honk if you love Jesus, text if you want to meet him today.
Oh, that's good. That's a good idea.
It's actually a pretty clever little bumper sticker.
Yeah.
But don't do it. I don't think you should do that. So be careful out there. We don't want anyone to have their own moment of duh.
John and Heidi.
Would you like custom t-shirts for an event or sports team? We understand that usually the budget's not unlimited. We have full-color custom printed t-shirts for just $7 each. That's one of the best prices you'll find anywhere. No minimum orders, so you can print just one or print 1,000. The price is just $7 per shirt with a minimal setup fee per design. Make the memories of your next event last forever or help your team look amazing with a little help from CustomShirtInc.com. That's CustomShirtInc.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your scoop of the day. Researchers at Cambridge University have discovered the secret to happiness for many men is to do more chores. It sounds weird, but men from 7 European countries were found to have an improved sense of well-being and work-life balance and less work-life conflict if they were helping with chores around the house. This study conducted by a bunch of wives. I'm just kidding. I don't know who did the study, but it was Cambridge University. So I'm sure there are wives celebrating all over going, hey, can I get a copy of that study? I'd like to show my deadbeat husband that
I don't know
study.
who did the study, but it was Cambridge University.
No, I mean, I don't know if it was a bunch of women that did it, like wives. Because I was joking saying it was a bunch of wives, but I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. According to a study from Salary.com, they say if a full-time stay-at-home mom were paid market wages, I think we get this study every year, don't we?
Yep.
Comes out every year. Well, the current number, if you were a stay-at-home mom and you were paid market wages for everything you do, you would earn $134,121 per year. That's comparable to what a judge or a top executive makes. To reach that figure, they calculated the earning power of 10 jobs mom do most of the time. So the housekeeper job, the daycare job, teacher job, cook, computer operator, facilities manager, van driver, janitor, chief
Okay, but
executive,
that's not really fair, is it?
psychologist, and laundry machine operator. So they took all of those.
Psychologist.
But they took all of those and they merged them together and said, what percentage of your time are you doing this and you're doing this? And they calculated a number, $134,121 per year. So there you go.
Psychologist. That's a bit extreme.
Wow. If you got a problem, who do you call? Mom, what should I do? So are you saying that you would turn down that job? $134,000? I'd do it. I'd be a stay-at-home mom. That'd be pretty
I'm
cool.
just saying, to come to that number and say, oh, she should earn the same amount as a psychologist.
Well,
I've been a stay-at-home mom, so I'm not knocking stay-at-home
Not at
moms.
all.
I think it's a very, very
It's a noble
important
profession.
job, and I think more women should do it. I feel like that's a big part of the breakdown of society is we don't have enough moms staying home with their kids. But having said that, giving him the credit for somebody who's gone to college to become a psychologist
There you
and
go.
saying you deserve
Well,
that percentage of that income,
I'm sure glad
that's wrong.
that part of the conversation is coming from that side of the table.
That's just a ridiculous argument.
Okay.
You and
All
I
right.
both know
But
that.
there you
That's
go.
ridiculous.
Let's move on. I'm very uncomfortable right now. We've got a whole line of stay-at-home moms at our front door all of a sudden. No, we don't really. Hey, if you ever feel like you're not getting enough sleep, what is a way to find out? If you're constantly yawning, that's a pretty good cue. Sleep medicine specialist. Now Heidi's yawning, and you're going to make me yawn. Why does that happen? Don't do that. Now, look at that. Everybody's yawning now. Sleep medicine specialist from Evanston, Illinois, Lisa Chavez, says you're likely getting poor quality sleep from waking often in the middle of the night or not achieving deep sleep. If you're yawning a lot, that's what the problem is. So there you go. I've actually gotten a lot more sleep lately than I used to get.
I didn't last night. Last night the house was hot.
I think so too. I don't know what was going on. I think for me it was because I had so much to eat before I went to bed. I was grilling the other night, and wow, that was good. Anyway, back to this. Facebook users, be warned before sharing a story that's actually fake news. The social media says they're working with fact-checking groups to identify bogus stories, and they're warning users if a story that they're trying to share has been reported as fake news. So if you share something and it's fake news, you could get in trouble from Facebook now. They'll say, no Facebook for you.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know who they'll be going after most.
You think
but-
so?
Oh, yeah.
According to a study, kids who go to school next to a fast food chain are fatter than kids who don't go to school
Duh.
next to a...
My gosh.
I just love the honesty that comes from Heidi. Duh. and I quote, duh. That's what she
If
said.
I had a McDonald's right next to my high school, I would have not even been able to fit back through the door.
Would you just stop it? And finally, researchers have engineered a hormone to make mice live longer. They're currently studying the possibilities of negative side effects of really, really, really old mice.
Why would you want mice to live longer?
know,
We
'cause they're-
try to kill them.
Well,
the way
they're hoping that if this works for mice, then we could maybe make it work for men and probably women too. Coming up, we've got a guest. We're going to be talking to two guests. That's on the way, and we've got your fun facts before you know it.
John and Heidi.
80s in the Sand will be happening this November in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic.
And that'll be here before you know it.
Join us and have a blast with 80s in the Sand.
An all-inclusive vacation with some of the greatest bands of the 80s.
Plus, you can meet some 80s icons from the movies and television as well.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
That website is 80sinthesand.com.
Book your week-long 80s vacation now at 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a couple of special guests joining us today. We're going to talk about getting organized because we've got a book called Organize Your Way, Simple Strategies for Every Personality. We've got Katie and Kelly McMenamin joining us. Now, where are you guys located in the world?
My sister's located in New York City, and I am located in Cleveland, otherwise known as the Land of Champions.
Hey, there you go. Now, when you guys
For a while, anyway.
Now, when you guys put this book together, is this the first book you've worked together on, or have you done other books like this?
It is our first book.
Your very first book. Now, what was the inspiration to say, we're going to write a book called Organize Your Way? What was the big inspiration on this?
We were forced to live together as children, and that was the big impetus to realizing that people organize very differently, because my poor sister had to walk through my messy part of the room to get to her neat part of the room where all of her stuffed animals were neatly rolled up in a line, and I had my clothes everywhere. So That was the genesis.
So not all people organize the same way. Everybody's kind of different.
Exactly. We knew from a very young age that people were very different personality type-wise. So when we went into this organization business, we went in with a hunch that people organize differently, and we went from there.
So what would you say the first thing is? Do you have to kind of figure out what your personality and your organization style is?
Exactly. That's exactly. You have to figure out what it is, and then you have to accept that it is what it is. That's sometimes the hardest part, especially when it's harder for you. Like, it's harder for me to get organized than it is for my sister, and I've had to accept sometimes that my perfection is going to look a lot different than her perfection, or her, every day, good enough.
Well, and that basically what I might think doesn't look organized might actually be organized to her, because different people have different ways of organizing, and so she's going to have a lot more possessions than I ever will out, for example. So that's where a lot of the judgment comes from, different types organizing different ways, because what looks organized to me is very different than what looks organized to her.
He went into my pile of vapors and organized them for me. I would go insane because I actually know where everything is, even though it doesn't look like it.
And that's good to know if you're working with somebody else, whether it's a roommate or a spouse. If you're going to be living with somebody, it's probably a good thing to know the different organizational styles, isn't it?
Absolutely. We often say we're like marriage counselors more than organizers. We actually have one client who told us we've saved their marriage and then sparked some new intimacy as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, people often ask us, what's the biggest obstacle to being organized, and living with other people would be number one up there. Maybe number two is having kids, because they come with so much stuff.
Yeah.
Kids and spouses are the number one obstacle to being organized.
Now, let's talk about Pixies Did It. What is Pixies Did It?
Well, it's the answer to who organized you.
Nice.
We did. Pixies did it. And that's on our website, and that's how you can find our book. And, and that's how we started out. Our parents used to call us Pixies, and that's how we kind of got the name.
Well, we're both, our advice is both annoying and helpful, which is kind of how pixies, the mythical creatures, are defined. So I think that's how we got the label. Giving out advice for a living is usually a little degrading and annoying, but it can also be helpful.
Well, it's only annoying because, we think, oh, I don't need any help. But here's the good news. Once you get organized, you go, oh, wow, that wasn't so bad. I kind of like this.
Yes, because actually we're telling you don't actually have to change who you are. And that's really what's groundbreaking about our book versus anything else that's out there, is we really work with your natural tendencies. So if you come home and you dump your coat right by the door, we're not telling you to, what you need to do is really learn how to go over to the closet, take out a hanger, put your coat on. What we're saying is if that's where you tend to do it, then put a hook there. Just kind of put some structure around what you naturally do. And that goes for you take your jewelry off in the bathroom and you have another home for the jewelry. Just put a bowl where you take it off, and that way it doesn't fall down the drain. We just really are about figuring out what you naturally do, putting structure around it, and making organizing easy.
No, that's a great idea. Now, I see top 10 pixie tips. I like some of the stuff that's in here. Like one of the things you're talking about is the genius of one-step organization. So is that what you're talking about right there? Would that be one of the things, just putting a hook by the door where you drop your coat anyway?
Exactly. You're always looking at any kind of system you set up. You kind of ask yourself, is there a way to remove an extra step from this? Like if you have a bin and you put a lid on it, if you want to get anything from that bin with the lid on it, it's going to be an extra step. So a lot of times with hampers, you'll have people say, God, my husband or my wife, she always dispose on top of the hampers. And you're like, is there a lid on it? And they say yes. And then you say, remove the lid. And they'll find it's much easier to dump your clothes in a hamper that's open than with a lid.
Yeah, I always like the way it looks to have a garbage can with a top on it in the bathroom, but it's ridiculous. Then things just literally end on the floor because I have children and a husband, and it's just here. So I have to have a big open one. It would drive Kelly crazy, but when my household, it works.
I'm looking here at some of the other cool stuff, like a later box. Oh, this sounds like a good idea. Let's talk about the later box.
It's a magical later box.
Yeah, it's magic. Yeah, there's a lot of personality types that have trouble letting go of things. And, it's easier for some types than it is for others. And so if it's really hard for you, just get it out of your normal everyday living space. Put it somewhere else and just wait on it a while. And we guarantee after, a couple months, a year, depending on your personality type, you'll forget what's in there. And if you can't remember what's in there, it'll be much easier to let it go.
I'm one of those personality types, by the way. So,
well, what's magical about it really is because we're not saying go back in that box and go through it.
Yeah,
Literally ask yourself, can I remember what I put in there? And sometimes people really can. There's one thing you miss, and that's what you go in to retrieve. And you'll see other things that you're thinking, oh, yeah. But then you have to ask yourself, dude, I totally forgot that actually existed. And that's when you know, okay, it's time to say goodbye. And it's easier to let go then. And sometimes people go in there and they've got to go back in and do it again. And depending on your personality type, that's fine. Some people are going to have more possessions and bigger storage areas than others, and that's okay.
Well, the book is called Organize Your Way, Simple Strategies for Every Personality. It's a fun idea for a book, and it's a really nice, I'm looking at the way it's laid out. It's not just, a boring book. There's a lot of illustrations and a lot of fun stuff. This is a very fun way for somebody to get organized. Again, it's called Organize Your Way, and I've got the sisters who put it together, Katie and Kelly. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for having us.
Again, our guests today have been Katie and Kelly McMenamin, the authors of Organize Your Way. It's available wherever books are sold, and their website, if you'd like to learn more about them and their system, is pixiesdidit.com.
Would you like custom t-shirts for an event or sports team? We understand that usually the budget's not unlimited. We have full-color custom printed t-shirts for just $7 each. That's one of the best prices you'll find anywhere. No minimum orders, so you can print just one or print 1,000. The price is just $7 per shirt with a minimal setup fee per design. Make the memories of your next event last forever or help your team look amazing with a little help from CustomShirtInc.com. That's CustomShirtInc.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Casanova. You ever heard of the person Casanova?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the world's most,
Romeo.
the greatest lover of all time. You know what Casanova's job was?
What?
Librarian.
Ah.
Pretty sure Casanova was also an author and wrote stories about how great he was. I'm pretty sure. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Schroeder is the Peanuts gang member who is the catcher for the kids' baseball team. Remember Schroeder? Wasn't he also the piano player?
I never liked...
You didn't like the Peanuts?
No.
Well, we'll just move on then. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Charo. You remember who Charo is?
Yes.
Her real name...
She was on the Love Boat all the time.
Her real name is Maria Rosario Pilar Martinez Molina Baez.
Okay.
Charo's a whole lot easier. Imagine. Do you think she'd have been famous if she was going by that big long
Probably
name?
not, no.
Charo. Everybody remembers
She
her.
was cool.
Yeah. And our final fun fact for you,
Is
Heidi.
she still alive?
I don't know.
I don't
You'll
know
have
either.
to Google that. I'm sure you could find out.
I bet she can't shake like she used to if she is.
She probably could. You never know. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The American state nicknamed the Gem State is what state?
I have no idea.
Oh, you were close. Idaho.
I was close.
Yeah. You said I don't know, and it was Idaho.
I said I have no idea.
Oh, well, you should have said I don't know. Then you'd have been close. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Have you thought of starting a home-based business but didn't like the idea of calling family and friends? This top-quality fitness and health products company lets you take advantage of their advertising power to reach people who wish to add a few hundred or a few $1,000s a week to their income by following a simple system. Plus, everyone who joins the team after you benefits you as well. To learn more about how you can leverage your time to help others get healthy and create wealth from home, call Scott Smith at 866-741-7242. That's 866-741-7242.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. It can be scary to ask for help. You don't want to bother people, and you definitely don't want to seem incompetent or unprepared. But some research from Harvard Business School found something reassuring. When you ask for advice, people actually tend to find you more competent, not less competent. A Dutch restaurant... What is this? Oh, this is two different stories. I'm sorry. I thought this was one story. Well, that's kind of weird. So if you ask for help, people don't think you're an idiot. They think, well, that was really smart of you to ask me for help because I am so smart. So ask for help. Now I got to read the story about the Dutch restaurant, don't I?
Okay. Yeah.
Because if I
suppose
don't,
you started to.
Well, yeah, and it's a fun story. I was wondering where it was. I thought I had it with my scoop of the day stuff, and I couldn't find it. Well, here's where it is. Dutch restaurant whose name is translated to the Unwanted Animal Kitchen. Would you go to a restaurant called the Unwanted Animal Kitchen?
Not at all.
They're offering a My Little Pony burger.
Oh my gosh.
Guess what the meat is made from?
Ponies?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The meat is made from butchered, aging horses that have worked at local amusement parks.
Oh.
The idea is to ensure that the meat from older horses is not wasted when the animals are put down. The owner and head chef, Babe Hengelv, admits the burgers don't sell that well, because people do feel bad about the idea of eating a horse.
Well,
but
yeah.
she serves them anyway, saying they keep in line with her philosophy of using meat from animals that would otherwise go to waste. So the name of her place, I don't know what it is. It's in Dutch, but in English, it translates to the Unwanted Animal Kitchen.
Oh, my gosh.
So her whole restaurant is made up of stuff that you go and eat. It's like the Roadkill Cafe concept, you know? But not
I
necessarily.
definitely would not go there.
So you wouldn't go there? I'm like, I'll have another
No.
koala burger, and she'll take another tortoise meal. I don't know what. Anyway, My Little Pony burger is enough for me. I don't think I would want that.
No.
And here's the thing that would be really sad. What if you liked it? You're like, man, sure have a hankering for some horse right about now. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Literally. Anyway, coming up, we're going to talk about Popeye and what he should be eating. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
We used to watch TV shows when the network told us to. Then came the DVR, and that changed everything. You could watch what you want, when you want. But you were still stuck paying the ridiculous monthly fees. And they even upcharged you for that DVR. Well, a few months ago, I cut my cable. We were paying a bundle. It was $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we just pay for the internet, and I save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this too at channelsurfertv.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 25% at channelsurfertv.com.
John and Heidi.
When you were a kid, did you ever watch the cartoon Popeye?
Yes, I did. I
And
liked Popeye.
What was it that he would eat to get all strong?
Spinach.
And you know, the funny thing is, they had a mathematical calculation error that made them think it was 10 times better.
Overestimated.
So spinach is not nearly as good for you as they thought it was back then. But something that is really good for you, broccoli. Yeah, British scientists say, hey, Popeye should be eating broccoli. Yeah, that's the new breed of veggie that experts say packs a punch of nutritional power. The new broccoli was specially grown to contain 2 to 3 times the normal amount of glufosinate.
And we all know how much we need that.
Well, we all have a shortage of glufosinate. Nutrient believed to help ward off heart disease. So even though I can't say it, it is good stuff. Veggies are a medicine cabinet already, says Richard Mithen, who is the lead researcher on the team for the Institute of Food Research in Norwich, England. That's the group that developed this new kind of broccoli. It says when you eat this broccoli, you get a reduction in cholesterol in your bloodstream. So they're saying it's good stuff for you. It's because of all that glufosinate. So
Interesting.
you can really taste it in there. I don't know. I should learn how to read before I come back and do the next break. We're going to talk about the ultimate sunburn. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Have you heard that the sun is burning out? Have you heard this story?
Well, they've
sun
been
up
saying
there.
that for years.
The one up there in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they said like a million years from now it'll burn out. So
Well, they say eventually the sun will burn itself out and Earth will freeze over. What happens then? Well, given the 94 million miles from Earth to the sun and the speed of light, we'll have about 8 minutes before the day goes dark and the temperature plunges precipitously. So the good news is they don't anticipate this happening in our lifetime, on our children's lifetime, or our grandchildren's lifetime. So it's going to be a long ways
a
from
million years.
Well, the good news is you can calculate things like that as a scientist, and you get all kinds of accolades while you're alive, and it's not a million years until they realize you were just a knucklehead.
Right.
Like a million years from now, they go, hey, wait a minute. What happened to the Mayan calendar? Weren't we supposed to die? Remember that? That was 2,000 years that we waited on that one. They're like, oh, and then they found like 2 days afterwards, they're like, oh, wait, guess what? We found in another cavern. It still continued. You got another 5 years or whatever it was. Like, you guys, just quit it. Come on, scientists. Be more scientific. All right, coming up, we've got some good news. That is on the way at the end of the program. And I've got a story that's kind of good news coming up before then. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
It's almost graduation time. If you have a son or daughter finishing high school, you need to hear this. They can go to college without racking up a pile of student loans. Matthew Einstone did. He saved over $70,000 on a top-rate education. Then he built a system to show you how to do it too. Learn how you can use this system for your kids or for yourself. Go to freeeducationuniversity.com. Sign up now and get a free 60-minute private consultation with Matthew. Use promo code RADIO20 to save 20% at freeeducationuniversity.com. That's freeeducationuniversity.com.
John and Heidi.
Heidi, do you like potatoes?
I love potatoes.
I like potatoes too, but I don't know if I could do this. This guy had nothing but potatoes for a long time. And he actually lost weight doing it. So let's tell you the story. Andy Taylor was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Back in 2015, this Melbourne, Australia man was clinically depressed, suffered from anxiety, and weighed in at over 300 pounds. Well, January 1st of last year, 2016, he began his journey to change all of that by making one simple choice: to eat nothing but potatoes for one full year. Now, why would you choose that, I wonder?
That's probably his favorite food.
Okay. Well, today he weighs in at just over 200 pounds. So he lost about 100 pounds in a year. For every day since the beginning of the potato diet, Taylor has only eaten mashed potatoes, boiled potatoes, or baked potatoes morning, noon, and night. No potato chips, no French fries. Those were not allowed. And he lost about 100 pounds. Now, I wonder if that potato thing could be substituted for something else. Like if he said, I don't like potatoes, but I'll do like an all-banana diet or some...
Sure. I mean, if you limit yourself to anything, you're going to eventually get so sick of it that you can hardly eat any of it.
Probably comes down to caloric intake. And I wonder if potatoes, if there's anything magical about that being the particular thing that he chose.
No, I don't think so.
I wonder if you could do that, like instead, if I just chose to do, nothing but meat. Do you think I could do that? Would that have the same
There's
effect?
those meat diets, yeah.
Yeah, those protein things. Well, anyway, this dude, like I said...
There's a grapefruit diet. So, yeah, I mean, whatever you do, if you're going to limit yourself to just, like, one thing, you're going to get so sick of it you can hardly eat it. And you're definitely going to lose weight because you're not hardly eating anything.
Well, there you go. Well, Andrew Taylor from Melbourne, Australia, lost 100 pounds by eating nothing but potatoes for a solid year. So, there you go. Don't know if I'd want to do that particular diet. I like potatoes.
Yeah, I love potatoes.
Should we try doing nothing but potatoes for like a week and see what happens?
I don't think so.
You don't want to try that?
No.
All right. Well, it was worth a thought. Coming up, we got some good news. We're going to head to the supermarket in Canada. We'll tell you all about it in a bit.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, and I think this is pretty darn good news, Heidi.
All right.
This news comes from north of the border, our neighbor to the north in Canada, Quebec, Canada, to be more specific. Supermarkets across Quebec will now be giving their leftover produce to food banks in need.
Shouldn't that always be done?
Well, it hasn't been in the past, but Food Banks of Quebec, FBQ they go by, recently announced the launch of a province-wide supermarket recovery program. It's the first of its kind in Canada. The program was first established as a pilot project in the Montreal city of Quebec City. Around Montreal and Quebec City, those two cities. In October of 2013 is when they started the pilot project. It was a way to bring unsold meat products and unsold produce products to food banks. And they said it would be great to see this happen all over the world. So right now, grocery stores, when these things get to the point where they're no longer sellable, they spend money to dispose of these things. So they're saying, hey, couldn't we maybe give them away?
That just seems like common sense to me. I don't know why it took so long to come up with that brilliant idea. That's like the first thing you would do.
Well, you would think so. But here's the problem. A lot of the time they say, well, we're going to leave it on the shelf until it's no longer possible to sell it. And if we can't sell it, we really can't give it away either. So what they're doing now is they're saying, okay, we're going to pull it off the shelf like a day earlier so we can give it away before it's bad.
Yeah. Well,
so
I don't... Yeah, whatever.
I think it's cool.
I think it makes sense.
And what happens is the companies are going, okay, well, we're going to lose out on some profits because we had one more day to sell those things. But yeah, you're also going to cut back on expenses because you don't have to pay to dispose of the other
ones. And I'm sure
ones.
they've got some tax write-offs coming. Well, I don't know how Canada works, but here you would have tax write-offs for charitable donations.
Well, if you'd like to know more, I do have a link to this entire story at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. I try to share something positive every single day. And positive is, a relative term because sometimes it's just something that I think is adorable. Mm-hmm. And other times it's stuff like this. I think that's a really cool story, and I hope it does catch on. That'd be neat. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.